Hello and welcome to another episode. Let's talk soy and flax because recently on Instagram I put up a post and it was talking about how to protect your breasts. And one of the recommendations I made was to consume flax. And there was a couple of people who jumped on the post and said, flax is estrogenic. And I think there's a lot of misinformation out there about flax. And then I put a post up about soy, and actually a client of mine responded, and a few other people too. And they said, oh, I thought that soy was a big no. And so I want to set the record straight about soy and flax. And I also just want to say, if you're out there in the land of social media where there's all these voices telling you all these different things, if somebody is saying that a particular food, produce primarily, right? If they're saying a fruit or a vegetable or a nut or a seed is going to harm you and is an absolute no, that should put your red flags up because there is really no fruit or vegetable that we can consume that is going to be really detrimental and do us a lot of harm unless you're eating copious amounts of something, right? But a fruit, a vegetable, a nut, a seed is likely not going to harm you. And no, these things are not going to destroy your gut health, right? We definitely have the paleo crowd who are all no grains. I don't believe in no grains. I think that eating too many grains could be problematic depending on what grains you're consuming, but it really boils down to, are you getting enough fruit and vegetables first and foremost, and protein? That's my little motto. I've said it for years: protein and produce, walking in weights. That's my motto in midlife. If you're getting enough protein, if you're getting enough fruits and vegetables, you probably don't have a ton of room left for much else, and that's fine. So anyway, let your red flags fly up if somebody's trying to die on the hill of flaxseed or soy because they're just trying to be contrarian for the sake of it. And they don't know the research at the end of the day. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about soy to start with. Soy has been studied, and we have good evidence to support that soy is a very good food for women, especially perimenopausal, postmenopausal women. So here are some of the benefits of soy. So it helps to get your lipids in order. And as we age, inflammaging is a thing. Our inflammation can rise, so we have to work to reduce it. And I talk actively about how to do that. It really, you've got to start with the gut. But when inflammation goes awry, our lipids can go awry. So soy can actually help to reduce specific lipids, triglycerides, ApoB, total cholesterol, LDL. So if that's needed for you, then that's a good thing. There is an inverse correlation between consuming soy and risk of breast cancer in pre and postmenopausal women. It reduces your risk of getting breast cancer, basically. It improves cognitive function in postmenopausal women and in premenopausal women. Who doesn't want that? It actually improves PCOS biomarkers. So insulin, triglycerides, your HOMA score, things like this. Reduces your risk of colon cancer, reduces arterial stiffness. We like that since cardiovascular disease is the #1 killer of women in the Western world. People are very afraid of breast cancer, and yeah, we want to do things to protect our breasts, of course, but cardiovascular disease kills far more women than breast cancer. So reduces arterial stiffness. Check, we like it. Reduces the appearance of skin wrinkles. We like that. Decreases acne. Reduces prostate cancer risk. Reduction in postmenopausal hot flushes has been seen in women who are consistently eating soy. Supports our bone health. Decreases our blood pressure. And it actually decreases death from various different cancers. There was actually a 10% lower all-cause mortality in the people who were consuming, had a higher soy intake than those who didn't. So that's pretty cool. Reduces your chance of death. Protective effects on the gut. Soy helps with supporting gut health. So what we should understand is that equal is the soy metabolite that we want to primarily make. And we can actually measure this. We can actually measure this on a stool test. And I'm just going to share my screen and show you my stool test. If you're watching if you are watching on YouTube, then you should be able to see my screen now. So this here, equal, this is the metabolite of soy that we want to be making. And we can see it on when you're running a good quality stool test. A lot of the stool tests that are run in my industry will not show you this. And that's problematic. I think, we really need to be seeing metabolites on stool tests. This is one. There are many different ones that are very important. But you want to aim for an equal that is at least 0.40, as you can see here. And I have a 4.27, which is pretty cool. And you can see some associated benefits here: reduced skin aging and antioxidant benefits, reduced menopause symptoms, but I've obviously told you a lot of other benefits as well. So this is one of the stool tests that we run, and so it's great. It's just kind of handy to see that equal production when you run these types of stool tests. All right, so equal, how do we make equal? How can you ensure that you're making enough equal to have those protective benefits that I just spoke about? So not everyone will produce equal, right? And that's why we can measure it. We can see how much you're making, and maybe you're not making any. But here's the good news. We can manipulate your microbiome, manipulate in a very nice and kind way your microbiome. We can nourish it, we can nurture it so that it can produce more equal. And that's really cool. And how do we do that? Well, it's all about working with somebody who understands the microbiome at a deep level, because there are certain bacteria, Slackia, Eggerthella, there are others as well that are the producers of equal. So what you want to do is you want to nurture, you want to nourish that microbiome to support the good bacteria and crowd out the bad bacteria. And there's various different ways to do that. But again, that's really where you want to be working with somebody who knows what they're doing with the microbiome, who can run the right testing. And if you want to work with myself and Michelle, then head to the show notes and you'll find links in there as to how we can help you. But, we want to support that microbiome so that we can produce healthy amounts of equal. And the good news is too that if you do produce more equal, if you work to support your microbiome so that you start to produce more equal, then those who do produce more equal tend to have better gut health, tend to have better gut diversity. So it is a really good metabolite to keep track of and to try to nourish and nurture, because it really does tell you a picture of your overall gut health. Okay, so two more things, then we'll move on to flax. How much soy do you need to eat? I don't actually have that information, but regular consumers of soy are the ones who are more likely to produce the equal. So you don't want to be just having soy here and there. I would say you want to be consuming at least maybe 2 to 3 quantities of soy per week. Honestly, I don't have much more than that. And then the format that you want to be consuming it in is miso. Try to get organic wherever you can. To be honest, it's really tricky to get organic food in Australia. It's a pain in my bum. But listen, most of my followers, my clientele, most of you on this podcast are in North America, and you have much better access in your supermarkets to organic food. And I know that because I used to live in Canada for 12 years. So try to get organic soy. You're looking for miso, natto, tempeh, edamame. I personally love to eat edamame. I eat warm edamame with lots of salt on it, and that's a really good source of protein, but also you're getting the soy benefits. All right, so that's soy. Now let's talk about flax. Flax. I don't know why flax is controversial. It's ridiculous. Flax modulates estrogen, okay? So modulation of estrogen is a really good thing, because basically what modulation does is it brings things into a healthy range. It modulates, right? So it's balancing, or it's adjusting, it's regulating, right? It's not necessarily increasing things or decreasing things when you're modulating. So it's not increasing estrogen or decreasing estrogen. It's modulating it for you, depending on what your body needs. That is miraculous. That is cool. So flax does this. Now, flax also, we have the research to show it protects against cancers, not just hormonally driven cancers, various different cancers. We also have good quality research that shows us not only is it protective against breast cancer, but it's protective against the recurrence of breast cancer. So if you've had breast cancer, one of the recommendations I make to my ladies who have had breast cancer is absolutely 2 tablespoons of ground flax seeds every single day. It's a non-negotiable for the rest of your life. I try to get that in. Yes, I miss a few days here and there, but I try to get my 2 tablespoons of ground flax in every single day. And just a caveat, the oils in the flax are delicate. So you, in a perfect world, what you would do is you would buy the flax seeds whole and then you grind them. You can get a very inexpensive spice grinder off of Amazon and you can grind them up as you need them. I basically do a week or two's worth and I'll put them in a little mason jar and I'll put them in my fridge or my freezer. So grind them as you need them and keep them in your fridge or your freezer. Okay. But they do have to be ground. You're not going to get the same benefits from the lignans in the flax if you're eating them whole. So grind them up. So women who have had breast cancer, like I said, a reduction in the recurrence of breast cancer when they consume flax. Flaxseed has been shown to reduce tumor markers, to reduce tumor size. Flax reduces inflammation in the body. It actually will tampen down various different inflammatory molecules. So that's a really good thing. Again, we get a lot of inflammation as we age, inflammaging. So one of the things us perimenopausal women have to constantly be working on is our inflammation, keeping that inflammation tamped down. Estrogen is great for constipation. So for my ladies who are constipated, I tell them 2 tablespoons of ground flaxseed every single day. Much better than psyllium. Psyllium, a lot of people can react to, and also psyllium can increase a bacteria in our gut called Bacteroides, which a lot of Westerners do have high levels of. And we don't want to have high levels of Bacteroides, but Bacteroides will ferment psyllium, and we don't want that. It will grow that Bacteroides. So I don't suggest psyllium. I just suggest flax because it's got so many incredible benefits that psyllium just doesn't have, and flax is not going to grow your Bacteroides, which is not what we want to have happen. Flax also will encourage your body to send your estrogen down a healthier pathway. We have various estrogens in the body and they have to get metabolized into their metabolites, and various metabolites are either, quote, healthy or harmful. And one of the healthier metabolites, flax, will actually help to encourage that healthier metabolite to be produced. It's called 2-MeO. Now, the other thing that's fascinating about flax is that if you're on tamoxifen, sorry, if you're on tamoxifen, it actually can help that tamoxifen work better. So isn't that crazy? So it is a natural tamoxifen-like compound, but if you are actually on tamoxifen, then it's actually going to support that regime if that's something that you have chosen to do. So what else can I tell you? That's it on flax. It's great. So, it's a food at the end of the day. It's hard to overdo the foods. It's easier to overdo nutrients, right? Or things that we're actually supplementing with. But when it comes to food, it's not usually something that we have to be really adverse to. So if anybody's telling you not to have flax or not to have soy, they probably don't understand what flax and soy do. They probably haven't looked into the research and they probably don't understand the benefits and the modulating benefits of estrogen. They've probably been sold a lie maybe by fear mongers online, but no, flax and soy are in my diet and will be long term. And I absolutely suggest them to every woman as one of those, or two of those little superfoods that we can incorporate into our diets to further support our overall health. How much flax? Listen, I just say 2 tablespoons per day. I think that is a good amount. That is definitely a good amount to keep the bowels moving. So that's what I say. I think the research is around the 25-gram marks, but listen, I just say do 2 tablespoons of ground flax daily. Have your soy foods 2 to 3 times a week. They're just little things that you can do and add to your diet to further supercharge and enhance your health. So I hope you found that interesting. As always, if you want to find out more about working with myself and my team practitioner, Michelle, head to the show notes. You'll find my Instagram there too. I recently changed my handle. It's now Tarathon Wellness. So head to the show notes, follow me on Instagram, come say hi, reach out if you have any questions, and make sure you're subscribed to the show, share this with your loved ones, and we'll speak again soon. Bye for now. I am not a medical professional, and the information provided in this podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only. I do not have access to your individual medical history or circumstances, so the content discussed here should not be considered as medical advice. Before making any changes to your diet, lifestyle, or considering the use of supplements, please consult with a qualified healthcare professional or your doctor to ensure it's safe and appropriate for your specific situation. Any decisions you make based on the content of this podcast are at your own discretion and risk. Thank you for tuning in.